Get ready for that.
Oh,
Okay. You ready, folks?
absolutely.
Okay, let's call the meeting to order, and if everyone can stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome everyone, and thank you for coming this evening. The first thing we need to do is to approve the meeting agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. 5.0 is community comments. Community comments is an opportunity for the public to address the school board on a school-related item in accordance with the guidelines that are printed at the end of the agenda. The agendas can be found on the table over there, and we've got one person for community comments, and that's Sue Hennessy, Little Mermaid.
Hi.
Hi.
I just real quick update because we're in the middle of rehearsal for The Little Mermaid. And I just wanted to tell you all about that. And I'm in rehearsal, so I forgot, but I have 2 tickets for each of you. So hopefully you can come and see it. The show, and conveniently they're here. It's the senior show for both Aurora and Robin, and they're here. And so it's their show, so they kind of chose it. Aurora's Ariel, and Robin is Sebastian. And we're busy dancing like crazy, building like crazy. We have about 15 community members in it. We have 35 cast members in it, of all ages from grade 3 through adult. And it's a lot of work, a lot of money, and a lot of fun. And I really hope you get a chance to see it. I'm working with the administration to hopefully get a school performance in, if it works out in the schedules of this, and Birch Grove, GES, and Grand Portage. So we're going to hopefully make that happen. So everybody gets a chance to see at least a section of it, if not the full thing. So that, just want to give you an update that we're busy into it, and we open on November 7th.
Great.
Thanks. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Keep it up.
Thanks. All right, 6.0 is student highlights. 6.1, high school student council report on homecoming.
And Ariel and Sebastian are here.
Alright, so this week,
Can you introduce yourselves, please?
I'm Robin Henriksen.
I'm Aurora Shomeski.
Oh, could you actually, sorry, the camera that we record, probably if you could stand by Mr.
Awesome.
Shirley. Sorry.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Okay. So, the high school student council planned activities to increase like the general school spirit, like lift people's spirits up during homecoming week, which is always kind of a higher energy week, but there's always some kids who like kind of apathetic about it, so we just wanted to boost the energy of the whole school. So we had 7 student council members come in on a Sunday before homecoming week, and we decorated the hallways with blue and white streamers and decorations, and that was just really well received. Students and staff both enjoyed the decorations. There were some cool comments made, like kids were like, "This is so cool," and talked about how it made homecoming more fun. And it just made the whole week feel different than your average school week, because there are these decorations that kind of set it apart.
Yeah, I noticed during that it can be the tendency of some students if things are hanging to, tear them down and, just kind of try and wreck it. And I really didn't notice a ton of that, which was really interesting. And I thought that was super cool, and that meant more about the value that those decorations held to the students. Also that week, we had morning greeters, so some of the kids from student council, we got up early, and there are, themed days, so we would get up, get in our different themes, outfits for the day, and we'd enter the building and greet the students as they came in. Sometimes we had candy, which was a highlight for a lot of the students. It's always fun to get handed, a Hershey Kiss as you walk into school. And we had music that matched the theme of the dress-up days. And there were a lot of smiles overall from staff and students, and actually we had some staff comment on the positive energy that it brought around the school. And I thought that was a really cool thing, and a good way to acknowledge everybody that's coming into the building and setting everybody up for a great day, you know? That can be, those little things can be important.
And one other comment, it was just really fun because we were greeting kids all the way from like preschool up to like seniors. So it was just all these different ages that were being greeted and that were like brightening their day at the beginning.
It was really cool to see the little kids get excited about our
Yeah.
costumes or our
They're
outfits.
super
As
excited.
they walked in during the day, one of the costume days, there was this little girl walking in and she was like, "Mom, look at these, look at them." And that, you know, that's really inspiring to us older kids. We also had face painting and sign making that week. We bought face paint and we painted faces during Monday and Thursday at school. During lunchtime, there were some kids walking around with some pretty elaborate, on Monday there was a USA, there were some flags, we had stars and stripes, which were really cool. And it was also used as an incentive on the PBIS Viking vessel during Spirit Day on Thursday. And those were just the things that student council's done, you know, recently during homecoming week. We thought we'd give you guys an update on that.
And you did the face painting on younger students too, right? They can use their Viking vouchers or something and.
That's the one, right on
Yeah,
it.
okay.
Great.
Thanks, guys.
Robin and Aurora, thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Report. Okay, 7.0 is to approve the consent agenda. Is there anything from the consent agenda someone would like pulled for further discussion? If not, I need a motion to approve.
I'd make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. All right, 8.0 is discussion and action items. 8.1, goals report.
One of the things, obviously, we've had our goals session, so hopefully we can talk about this evening too, as far as maybe that might be one of the directives of me for this year is to really work with the data that we collected at our session to update our goals. But our current goals for looking at the positive communities, our staff are starting to meet the plan for the Diversity Day. So that's one of the things that's coming up. And then conferences have been held, and we held them here in the school and also at Grand Portage regarding the academic achievement for all students. And then Lori, for the finance piece, effective use of our resources, Lori has been continuing to work with auditors. It's mainly been emailing back and forth as far as finishing things up. And we have a date that they'll be coming up. Ms. Pam, is that November, do you recall, or are they coming in November
They're
meeting?
hoping November.
Yeah, that's what our hope is, to have them come to the November meeting.
Okay, any questions for Dr. Crandall on the goals? All right, 8.2 is bond update.
Not a lot occurring there. You can see we've had some payments there on the re-roof in October. Otherwise, not much change. There's also a Jamar payment under the furniture, fixture, equipment piece there. That was, they were working on our exhaust fans in the science rooms. That's what that was.
So did that, Tom, so is that taken care of, those fan, that noise and stuff? Did that deal with that noise?
Ms.
The science rooms.
We can defer to
Did that,
Mr.
did that
Benish.
get handled? Is it done?
I'm pretty happy with it.
Okay, so we can finally say that it's
Yeah,
done?
we can put it to bed.
Hallelujah. Thank goodness. Good. Glad to hear it. All right, anything else on the bond? All right, 8.3 is to approve the expenditure revenue report, September 2019.
It's pretty standard. Once again, we're early in the year, so you can see not much has been expended as of date, but we're working through our budget.
I'll make a motion to approve the expenditure report.
I'll second it.
Okay, any other discussion?
Lori normally has something to say, she's not here. I miss
She's
her.
absent this evening.
That should be a quick meeting.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Okay, 8.4 is to set the workshop date for the world's best workforce data and levy. And so we've got a proposed date of November 21st at 4, which is just prior to our meeting. Let's see. Okay, so does that work for everybody?
Sure.
Okay,
At 4.
yep, so November 21st at 4 p.m. Please update your calendars. I'm doing that right now, so.
So our workshop, World's Best Workforce.
Yes. Okay, that is set. All right, 8.5, we need to approve a revision of 2019-20 school calendar, changing November 27th, 2019 and December 20th, 2019 from a half day to a full day of professional development days.
I'll make a motion to make the revision.
I would second that.
This is for, information for discussion
Okay,
on this item.
okay.
And why are we doing that?
That,
This
did I
is
get
about-
enough? Did I not?
Sure.
Sorry.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Do you have an extra one?
Oh, yeah.
I'll,
Okay. No,
I mean,
we have an extra one.
you can just listen.
I already know.
Yeah, so, we had an extreme year last year as far as weather-wise, and we had a lot of days off, unfortunately, due to school closures. And so, we've had some discussions with CCEA and looking at some solutions to hopefully for the future, so for our teachers that they can schedule and for students and families that they can schedule in the event that we have a year with a lot of makeup days. I mean, we never know, as we all know that. So, we're asking the district to, as the motion is, to look at changing those current half days to a full day. What that would do is to allow for one makeup day being covered. If in the future, because what we do is if a day is off, we then use one of those professional development days or a PDD day. And so what this does is it makes up for that PDD day. So if we have one day that we have to make up as an instruction, which we call an instructional day when the students are there, we've already made up that PDD day. Now, in here, in the event no makeup days are needed, I have in here, as of April 1st, then we would recommend that we have April 13th, which is a Monday. That's a weekend where on our calendar we have the Friday and then the Monday of this particular weekend are both PDD days. And so if we have no weather makeup days, we would then have that Monday as a, like a better term, kind of like a holiday. It would be a non-school day for teachers or staff, or excuse me, staff or students.
Well, that might be a little early in April though, because we get a lot of snow, right?
Understood, but we also have some more PDD days coming up. Well, this year we have May Day, I believe.
Sure.
And so we would still follow that, and it's on our calendar right over on the far side, that if loss of an instructional day occurs 10 or more days prior to the following dates, school will be held on these days, and actually we have April 10th, April 13th, and May 22nd days. And so I actually have a suggestion that we add 2 more days, 2 additional days, which would be February 14th and December 20th. Because if we have an early scenario where we have an early one, we have these 3 as makeup days, we don't have any others scheduled. Possibility for the board to consider putting that in the calendar.
Yeah, well, I questioned that when we approved it originally, why we went, cause we had at 4 or 5 and then we went to 3. I was wondering why we did that in the first place, actually. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't-
because if you lose a day in the first semester, you make it up in the second semester.
What's the game?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I kind of feel the same way about, teacher makeup days starting on June 2nd. I just don't feel like they're as valuable at that time as they would be earlier in the year.
Understood. Just to share information with you, in the contract, if there is no school, teachers do not need to come in. And therefore, the only other days we'd have would be looking at one of our breaks, that we'd start saying, hey, you're gonna come in during that March break if they happen prior to that, or we'd have to have agreement and they come in on Saturdays, if it's gonna be during the school year. Otherwise, we don't have any other options. And every day we miss, we need to make up, because we're on 165 days and we have to have 165 days, instructional days.
I just wonder what statement we're making about how we value the professional development for the teachers when we continue to postpone it.
If you can find another solution, we would love it. But
Well, and this
I
is
don't
partially
know if
to
it's-
address that,
It
because
is.
what happened last year was they ended up losing PD days, and because we made up school on those days that were otherwise designated, so it was ended up becoming a student day. So by what the proposal on the table right now is, so that doesn't happen again, so we're building another.
And I do
full
understand
PD
that
day.
last year was a non-typical year as far as the extreme amount of days
Yeah.
snow days we had.
Well, a couple of years ago, it's kind of the same,
No, it's Minnesota, it happens.
so.
Global warming.
I mean, the other piece to this is, you know, the governor, when he gave that relief this last year, he said, okay, well, you can do this, but the expectation is that you guys start planning for, you know, this eventuality, so looking at like an e-learning day, you know, rather than just strictly losing the day, finding some sort of other method to still, you know, hold school, which is not obviously something that we're talking about right in the second, but something that we should probably talk about.
Take that to the meeting for, start having discussion about e-learning days as an option.
As long as the power doesn't go out.
Well, e-learning doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be, you know,
We lost it
device.
last week.
We'd have to come up with some different solutions, because we already know that not everyone in our, you know, our attendance area has connectivity.
Right.
We could talk to the county and their tech department and see if they can fix that for us, but
I happen to know the administrator.
Okay, so specific to this, so right now with this motion, we're just changing those dates.
correct.
So, but your,
I would ask if the person who made the motion, if they amend it to add December 20th and February 14th as added dates that we would use.
Before
In the event.
student and staff days.
Yep.
But they could change.
For
How
instructional day.
early would we inform people about if they will be full or half days officially? Because I think that's important for parents.
Well,
it's the 10 days.
Well, at this point, if
It's,
we pass this motion, we'll let everybody know. We can send an email blast out.
But if you decide we don't need them, I guess maybe I'm not following this as clearly as.
Which question were you at?
The February dates that you wanna add in, but we might not need them. Maybe I'm not following our discussion.
you're,
as
we're
clearly as-
adding them to this, correct?
You asked
Yeah.
us to amend to add February.
So this
Oh,
is,
we
this is
would
the
only
part
use those
of,
if
we
we
would only
had
use
a
them if we
school
are
closed day.
gone. Yep, so if we lose an instructional day 10 days prior to those dates, so Dr. Crandall's asking that those dates be added right here
Okay.
as
Thank you for that
potential
clarification.
dates, yeah, as potential
So
dates.
they are not needed unless informed otherwise.
Yes.
Correct. And
Yeah.
as soon as we have a snow day, we're gonna look at the calendar and say, oh, we are making that day up at this time, and then everybody would.
What I needed was what Sissy said, this is these ones, not the main full calendar,
Yes.
that's what I needed.
Yes.
I understand it now.
All right,
Good, because there's gonna be a quiz later.
I love quizzes,
Open book.
I'm good at that, I don't even need to be open book.
Alright, so I'll revise my motion to adjust the calendar to change November 27, December 20th from half day to full day, and add December 20 and February 14 as possible makeup days for instructional days lost to the calendar.
Thank you for amending.
And I'll second his amendment.
Thank you.
And I wasn't part of the teacher negotiations discussions or anything, in regards to how we are, the June 2nd makeup days, but I feel like I would love to have more information on why we decided that, or if any other options were brought up, or maybe this is
You
just.
mean last year's discussion? I mean, what happened last school year?
Well, but it's been I know what happened, it's been a
Yeah.
continued discussion, I just
Yeah.
would like to know, are there better options? There might not be, I don't like this option personally,
we're very
but
limited, our
I
hands
don't
are
know that
pretty well
it's
tied with our
not the
current
best
calendar.
option. So, I just maybe would
Very
like
few
to,
options with our current calendar.
I'd like to know more, maybe have more discussions in regards to that. And I mean, the negotiations people I know had conversations about that with the teachers, and I wasn't privy
No,
to that.
we can discuss that in our closed session, we're gonna be talking negotiations.
Okay.
And then I also think that, if you wanna know exactly what the conversations were, I mean, you could have a conversation with our principals, cause I think last year how we handled it was we kinda had to figure it out at
Correct.
the end. And so I would say administration probably, I would hope, has had conversations to hopefully be on top of it for next time, and so, at some point, I mean, I'm sure they probably got a bunch of scenarios that we don't necessarily need to
It's
say,
sent to us because you
unless-
guys feel it's the best option though, right, of
Yeah.
considering.
We
so,
put it forward and
Okay.
in, I can't remember what meeting we got approved, yeah.
Yeah.
We've gone out the previous year to, parents have asked for consistency.
Yeah.
And so we did not change hardly anything from the previous 2 years, because parents said they wanted consistent schedule or calendar for, 2-3 years, so then they could evaluate. So we kind of went off of what parents asked.
And teachers seemed like considering options, this was. you
Well, and
understand
it's
was the
better
best.
to have those PD days. I hear what you're saying, like the PD day at the end of the school year is less valuable. That's what I hear you saying, right?
That's what I mean.
And I agree with
It
that.
might be really valuable to some teachers, but they have to stew
Right.
over it for a couple of months before they put
Yeah.
their new progress.
And so
in.
last year we went to the flex time. And, that's what we had to make work because of the number of hours that we had to make up. But our PD days are valuable because we need those things during the school year to meet.
Yeah, and you need them
and
all
to-
together.
Right.
All
So
of
for
them
us to be able to work them into the school year is a better fit than at the end of the year. And that's what I think is happening here, is we're not getting rid of those PD days by adding the full day. We're gonna actually alleviate maybe one
We're
at the
hoping that
end.
because we've
They're gonna be
alleviated
more
snow
valuable.
day stress a
Mhm.
little bit, that
Yes.
they're more likely to happen.
Correct.
Yep.
I mean, I'm following it, I'm just.
Yeah. And so it
Not
took me
really
some
sure
time, cause I also like to have those teachers be able to get on the road if they're going out of town, and families to be able to get on the road. But in the big scheme of things, our PD days are valuable.
Yeah, they are.
We fill them up pretty quickly with trainings and meetings and grading times. There's a lot that goes into those days, so losing those is hard for teachers and our staff.
And they're PLCs and they're trying to
Yeah.
get together, and we have an amazing staff that has a lot to share with
Yes.
each other, so.
Yeah.
yeah, and as a
I
reminder,
feel
the
that.
QOC, that's where those calendar discussions happen, is in the QOC. And that's when the PD day is discussed, and so that's where that conversation happens, and that's where that conversation did happen. Okay, any more discussion on this? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. All right, 8.6, to discuss flexible year learning, discuss flexible learning year application for DV.
I don't know if everybody had an opportunity to look at the application that Pam sent out to you. This just came out, and so you can, as a district, you can apply for up to 3 years. And there are multiple types of flexible learning year programs. The 45-15 is where you go to school 9 weeks, you're off 3 weeks, go to school 9 weeks, you're off 3 weeks. That's one program. Flexible all year, you set up your calendar so you have to meet all the requirements. Extended learning year, I'm not sure exactly how they have that one set up. But the flexible all year is where they come in with that 4-day week one. Pre-Labor Day is another. I know, for example, there was a group consortium of 20 districts down the southwest corner, and they all came up with the same calendar, and they all started like the second week of August. And then they were out early in May. So those are some things that are options. So what you would need to do is obviously list the dates, the purposes. That's what we'd have to make a decision if we went down this option. Is it to improve instructional quality? Is it to increase cost effectiveness, make better use of community resources or available technology, and or establish an alternative eligibility criteria intended to identify pupils in need of special education services? In our case, I know you're going to save money. Because you're going to have one less day of busing, one less day of food services.
How did it
one
work
less
last
day.
time?
How did what work last time?
Didn't we have a 4-day week?
No.
We had a modified 4-day week.
Yeah, modified, yes.
Yeah.
Which we've sort of continued to modify from,
Mhm.
because we still have
Yeah.
our Fridays or Mondays off occasionally and such.
I think more Fridays than Mondays, but yeah.
Right.
But
So
that's
there's the
our
rare,
current-
like-
Yeah.
I have a question. So it's, it has the years listed here. Do you have to do the application now if you want to consider it for future years?
No, you can do it, you can do
So
it
if you didn't
next
want to do
year.
it this year, you could do it next year.
Correct.
Okay.
And I read it somewhere, but what's the date that you have to?
February
20th.
3rd, I
Thank you.
believe, is the final date that everything has to be in by. That's on here, in here
Oh, yeah.
somewhere.
Great page.
You have to have public hearings,
Yeah, I would say there's a
you have to
list
have
of things you
goals
have to do.
established, you have to have your board approval.
So is this something the administration wants to pursue?
I brought it up because a few years back, that was one of the things that the board that was,
It was a big
In
learning
place,
discussion.
had thrown it out as
There were
a possible
community
idea.
meetings, pros and cons,
Mhm.
discussions.
Mhm.
And I think at the time, that's why we did the modified week. Correct me if I'm wrong, some of the people who've been on the board longer and whatnot. We did the modified 4-day week that's influenced our current calendar
Mhm.
because at the time, we couldn't officially do a 4-day week. Right?
Correct. And then they changed,
Yeah.
because at one point we had a calendar of 160 days.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
the next year, legislation, they've always had a certain number of hours.
Yeah, and we were going by the
1,020 hours, and we're fine on our hours for kids because we have the same number of hours really for our high school that we have for our middle school and our elementary, not off by, they're off by a few, but not much. But we meet that criteria well about by 5 to 7 days over what the requirement is. Even with our 165 days, we still meet the hours above and beyond.
Okay.
But they meaning the state added that 165-day requirement a few years ago, and that's why we went from the 160-day calendar to the 165-day calendar.
But I don't think we really did get your question answered.
Yeah,
Is
What
that
was it? I'm
something?
sorry?
Yeah, I'm
The
just,
current administration, is that something that they think would be possibly a good fit to research now,
right.
regardless of what happened
And
in the
whose,
past?
whose responsibility is it to put kind of a
Well,
proposal
I-
together and?
Yeah, I think part of it is, I think you're looking to see if it, because it's something that we have to, if we want to do it, we have to approve, we are the official approvers of it, but
Mhm.
obviously we have to ask
Yeah, the
administration.
will be doing most of the work.
I'm gonna be honest, I was one of the parents that before when I was against it, and it was before I was on the board. And I'm still not a fan of the 4-day week, I'm not of it because of where we live, because of our daycare situation. I just think it puts more pressure on parents, not to have that day. And so, I'll just say that, just to get the ball rolling. So sometimes people are scared to say if they're
So
for
you
it.
have to be truly convinced for this, for.
You gotta,
vote yes.
and, you know, with our, now especially with the block scheduling, with cutting out a day, so I'm gonna need a really good sales pitch if you're gonna want it, and I don't know if they're prepared to do it, so that was gonna be my question is, do you guys all wanna weigh in? Do you wanna put our administrators on the spot and ask them?
Actually, I think really, this is kind of the first time
We're
we've
even
really
talking
been
about
talking
it.
about it,
So
and so
we gotta
the administrators
test the water.
haven't had.
Well, I just think kids, 4 days or 5 days, they always lose over the weekend. You know, they slide backwards, so now 3 days. And then we have students who they need the school to have stability, to have food, to have safety, to have a stimulating, safe environment even. I mean, and so, no, they should be here 5 days a week.
So I think that I'm intrigued at the potential for doing a 4-day week. I think there could be a lot of positive stuff about that. If people were wanting to support it and it's what they wanted, the teachers and the administration and the community. But that being said, the big thing that comes to my mind is, yeah, you have kids that this is where they come to eat and this is where they're being looked after. And to put that back on the family is a non-starter in a lot of cases. So I think if we were gonna consider it, then we would have to put in a program that enabled kids to still be able to come here or with maybe one of our partners across the hallway, where they can have supervision and activities and a meal or 2 or 3, and you know, have something like that in place as an option if it were to happen. So I could conceive of this, provided that we are able to be creative to maintain that support, so that we don't have to, you know, just say, too bad, so sad, figure it out.
You know, part of this, there also, you need to have 3 public meetings.
Yeah.
You also have with the bargaining groups, you need to have agreement with bargaining groups as well. You know, so there are many components that go along, obviously board approval. You have to have goals, you know, specific to why you're doing this, and then you have to report out every year on your status of your goals. So I'm assuming if you're not meeting your goals, you're probably gonna be
Told no.
told you need to go back.
And I think it's a fast. I mean, it's October.
Yeah, it just
Coming
came
into the
out.
holidays
It's
here.
interesting.
To have all that done by February seems a bit rushed to me, and that's why I asked the question. So if we don't do it this year, and we take our time and we do all of our due diligence, which we should do if people are thinking we should look into it, that we don't have to make a rush decision and get that all done by February 3rd.
On the other hand, I think if the 5 school board members and the 3 administrators are getting a consensus of no already, if we already don't wanna do it, why say, Megan Myers, take your valuable time and put together something ginormous, big report, arrange all these meetings. It's
We have to
not of
decide
value
that,
if
yeah.
the consensus in the room of those 8 people is,
Yeah.
we're not really interested in this,
Yeah,
I don't
but
wanna
the
waste so much
administrator
time if we all know we're
meeting,
gonna vote
We haven't
no.
even taken a
Right.
straw poll of what our staff.
Right. So I guess that's where I would,
'Cause this is
I would
first-
come from
first
is asking the administration to go back and talk about it amongst yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, we can have staff meeting and
Yeah.
find out what they're interested
And then come back and make
Yeah.
make a request of us to, say,
support it or not.
support it
Yeah.
or not, right?
Yeah.
Because I can't even imagine how this would work. I mean, I see that there's a process here
Yeah.
for us to be able to change,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't
And
know
it may
where-
be like Ms. Lundy said, just this year, we start doing the conversations. We really start having those conversations and find out if there is a large interest in the community or not. And take it slow so we do it right.
So is,
If we do
Right.
do it at all.
so as we sometimes say in the business, it looks like a solution, looking for a problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I mean, I'm not, it's not compelling to me one way or the other. I'd like to hear why it would be and see how people feel about it. But, there's certainly a lot to be worked out with it.
That's exactly the direction I would go. I don't have a strong yes or no right now, and I guarantee I'm gonna be like, hey, you guys, give me a lot of data, a lot of information, I wanna, you know, I'm gonna put you through a lot of work to make a decision, and
When they describe
I don't know if
districts
it's
where
of
this
value.
should take place, we fit the
we
mold.
fit them all.
Okay, and that's fair,
And
so.
just to let you
so I
know
just
why
feel-
we fit the mold,
Geography.
is
Yes.
because of geography.
Yeah.
That's really what it gets down to. The districts that, in the research that I've seen, it's not a metro area that's doing a 4-day week. It's someone like us, which we have kids on the bus one way for over an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And that's the real reason that they've gone in that direction.
But in Mr. Shirley's scenario in his head, where we still wanna provide supports for that 5th day, if we go that direction, then the idea of saving busing, well, maybe we wouldn't do that because we still wanna bring students in and provide that safety net, and reducing food costs, well, if we still wanna provide food, then maybe it's not fiscally doing much difference, you know, maybe it's
Yeah.
not a big.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's,
Yeah, it all depends on how we settle it, if we do it at all. Yeah, but I just wanted to bring forward, like I said, when I first came on the board, that was one of the items that
It was a hot
standing
topic
board
a while
then.
ago. Mhm.
Well, and this isn't necessarily, from what I understand, something that you can just apply to do as a matter of course all the time. It's sort of like you have to be given the opportunity to do it, is that right?
Well, it's just, it's an application process.
And it's always,
It
But
it
they
had been-
haven't had it
It had been
available,
closed
though.
for the last 5 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
okay.
Prior to that, it was open, and it's
Okay.
actually a little different than it was 5 years ago.
Mhm.
5 years ago, they had all these surveys in, that were required, surveys. At the same time, they didn't have goals attached to it. They always had a report, but they never had, you have to have a SMART goal. So it has changed. Yeah. So we will,
So,
the
We'll-
administrative team will
Yeah.
start having some conversations, and we've
and let
got
us know.
some CCEA members here, and so we'll, have those conversations at some staff meetings. I can talk to the other groups as well, and just kind of take a straw poll, see what people are thinking.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. 10.0 administrative reports. 10.1 principals report highlight item. And we have that on a paper.
Oh, this is gonna be the greatest one ever.
Is it? Is
I
that
have
why
to-
we're just seeing it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to tell that Mr. Tom Nelson has to help me with my presentation. So
Oh,
Mr.
gosh.
Nelson, if you would come here, please.
Exciting.
I'm gonna need some help because I got the camera right there and I need you to stand right here.
Come on, Tom. I'd like to recognize Tom to stand up.
Former
Which direction are the cameras?
that wasn't on the
So
camera.
Mr. Nelson is being uncooperative and
All
We
right,
will-
Mr.
In
Gordon,
some
I
Mr.
will amuse
Nelson,
you.
thank you.
I will amuse you today. This
take
is your
the
day.
inside there. I want to
Yeah.
make sure that you.
Oh, here,
right
let me
there.
come this way.
Stand in the middle.
There you go.
I owe
But
you.
so,
Well, I can't have my back to the board, Mr. Gordon. That's-
well, here, I'll go.
Yes.
Anyway, we have worked in the last year to try to really recognize more people that are making contributions to the school. So Ms. Myers will talk about Students of the Month here briefly, and we have some new boards on the wall. We have an Educator of the Month award, and this is the first time we've ever attempted this in the recent history of our school. And we want to make sure that we communicate to our students as well as to our community and the people that aren't necessarily in the school community that everybody in our building's an educator. And they all have a unique role, and it's kind of like being on a team, and everybody does what they do. And we really want to recognize Tom. Tom has had 2 crazy years, well, you probably had numerous crazy years, but I'm just specifying the last 2 or 3, where we've had a building project. We've had new roofs. We did the ACA. We have done busing. He's got a smaller crew probably than he did, say, 5 to 10 years ago. And this guy's amazing. And he puts in more hours than anybody I've ever seen. Actually, nobody's put in more hours in my lifetime than anybody I've ever worked with ever. Ever. He has put in more hours than anybody I've ever worked with at any level in any business, anywhere. And so we just want to recognize Tom Nelson as our Educator of the Month of September. And I can think of no finer person to represent Cook County Schools. So.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so
Everything
as
is good.
I'm going to talk about the students of the month. So there is going to be a student of the month from each of the elementary classrooms, as well as a female and a male student from the middle school, high school, and from the middle school and from the high school. So we'll have 4 middle school, high school students that are going to be recognized on a monthly basis. We have character traits that we look for each month, and it's a theme. So the first one for September was respect, and we had 4 students, Dora Nacero, Sadie Wilson, Carissa Bickford, and Joelle Santos. They were our first 4 from the middle school, high school. I cannot list the elementary ones off the top of my head, but we have been putting it on our social media with our webpage, and just advertising all the great things that our students are contributing to our classrooms. It's fun to see that, and we have certificates made up and laminated for the kids. We have started a Viking Pride type of, or the PBIS presentations, assemblies, where we get to bring those kiddos up on the stage and really make them feel special. And something that I said, I think in one of the first ones, was it's so neat to be able to feel your name called and to become up on stage and be that center of attention. And so for our kids that are students of the month, they get to get that standing ovation or the clap that goes along with it, and I think that's really special. It's a time where kids will not forget that. So that was really neat. And speaking of Tom, he has really helped me find a way to get recycling into our school and doing better. I have 3 different people that are going to, so far, adults that are going to lead with students. John Paul, I have Lori Austin, and I have April Wallstrom. I also have Betsy Jorgensen, who's willing to do the support for that. But April is going to do it with her AP Environmental Sciences class for the 2nd semester. And Tom helped me get all the equipment, or the recycle bins, so that they're going to be ready for the basketball season. Because it's important, I think, during those sporting events, we have a lot of recyclables that can be taking place. But we have all the offices that are equipped right now with the recyclable trash cans. And then the group of AP students are going to come up with some education pieces for the students. So, yeah, great. All right.
Fantastic.
Hey, Dan,
Need all of our days.
that's true.
Yeah.
Good.
Dan's been.
Thank you.
They made.
Any questions for our principals? All right, 10.2 superintendent report highlight item.
Oh, should I recognize Mr. Nelson?
Okay.
He was
More time.
Okay, now go ahead.
Did he go in front of a school assembly like the students do? Did we get to really?
This is the assembly.
I definitely could. Actually, I'll recognize our administrators this year, and actually it's probably over the summer. Ms. Myers took care of some business to help our kids out. And so we have reading core, math core. Basically, we have a lot more opportunities for interventions to help our students. Along with that, kind of revamped our ADSYS program, which is a program we've shared before, alternative delivery of student intervention systems. I get it right? Oh, wow, I got it right once. And so with that, she's really worked diligently on getting that set up so our kiddos are getting what they need. Mr. Dorr, working more specifically with that middle school team. And there's a specific plan this year in place that they are all on board and really vested in making sure that comes to fruition as far as what we can do to help our kiddos in that middle school level. So they both did some great pieces that they're ongoing throughout the year to help the students here at Cook County. And we need, due to a recent change in one of our board members outside of school life, we need a new QComp representative. Are you gonna?
I said I would do it.
Thanks,
Whether they
Lizzie.
like it or not, they got me coming back.
All right.
So I would just say thank you, and I'm sorry that I'm not able to do that, but
It's a great group, I don't mind
it's,
going
it's
back.
it's a great group and I've
Yeah.
learned a lot already, so
Yeah.
I just can't do it right now.
No one else had availability, so that's why,
It's
I'm not trying to
really-
hog everything.
it's
Yeah,
just
they had
like
asked
that.
me, and I honestly, I would be really super interested, it's a concept I'm very passionate about,
Mhm.
but the time of day is not conducive to my, working with my schedule.
I'm just really grateful that Rena still comes here to be part of the board.
And thank you so much, Sissy, I know that you,
Didn't want to.
well, I wouldn't say that.
It's not that I want to, but
She was ready to
everyone's
pass the
busy.
torch.
Yep, I'm
And-
always ready to pass the torch.
I'm sorry that didn't work out.
All right, any more questions for Dr. Crandall? Okay, so now it is time, we are gonna recess into closed session for negotiation strategy per Minnesota statute 13D.03 and superintendent evaluation per Minnesota statute 13D.05 subdivision 3 at 5:48. And we're gonna take a 5-minute break or whatever to get there, so I need a motion to do that.
Motion to go into closed session?
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. Okay, motion carries. So let's take about 5 minutes.